Hello. Can't hear you, Laurence. Can you hear me? I can't. Can you hear me? Ugh. Right now. Something wrong with your mic. I can't hear your mic.
Hello? Can you hear me now, Luke? I've got you now, yeah, I can hear you. Oh, pain, sorry. Am I going to be able to see your screen?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DraftCast. We are live again, and today we're going to reveal the draw for the semi-finals of the DBF Pokal Cup. Laurence is here to give a segment before we do that, though, and then we'll take a quick look at the league standings as usual, the game week 30. But how are you doing, Laurence? Saturday morning, sun shining.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I had one too many Guinnesses last night, so I'm feeling a bit worse for wear. But you know, I'm good, thank you. Just racing this morning to finish off my segment, so hopefully everyone enjoys it.
I'm sure they will.
So it's on. Yeah, let's see how we get on.
Good. Yeah, let's have a quick look at the league standing. I don't think there's too much to talk about there, but we do it every time, so we'll carry on. Yeah. Oh, I'm showing the wrong league. That's one.
I also can't see your screen, so this is going well.
Well, you should have the league standing up, Laurence. You should be able to get it up quickly on your phone, surely.
Go for it.
Yeah, I just the couple of things I've brought up for this week was just that James has had a really good week. 50 points, considering what there was. What's it? How many games were there? There weren't many, were there?
4, I think. Yeah, 4 games.
So he's done really well from that. Whether it's going to hit him later on when those teams, well, presumably there'll be weeks where they don't play. I don't know. Don't know how it works. So they level it out, but we'll see.
He has Son and Madison, right? So I think 25 of his points were from Son and Madison alone. So that's the majority of his week. I think if you have a look, most of his points are from, those 2 players. So it was a bit of a strange week, to be honest. I mean, I think I only had a couple of people play as well, so bit of a strange one. But hopefully we're back to. I think we've got a full week this week plus a double game week, so it should be interesting to see how the cup pans out. The extra couple of fixtures in there.
Yeah, it will be interesting because it could sway it one way or another, couldn't it? Depending on who draws who.
Yeah, is match 2 the lowest ever game week score? Is that the lowest? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Adam will have to inform us in the chat.
Hopefully he'll let us know live on air, and we can update the community.
He might not count it though because it's not a full game week.
Yeah, fair enough. Not much else to talk about really. I mean, it was a bit of a strange game week considering the lack of fixtures. Some pretty good scores on there. I mean, Tolly with 28, Team Row 27,
George with 28 as well.
Yeah. How are you doing, Luke? You seem to be sat nicely in 9th place.
Yeah, it's been steady ship. Obviously, that week was terrible, but I just sort of accepted my fate really that week. I was like, whatever happens, happens.
Jack's on the beach by the looks of it.
Yeah, that's what he's been saying, but you never know. Might be a late surge somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice.
Yeah, I think Will did well. Tolly's 1 point off him at the top there, so he's done well to keep that spot with only 10 points, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know how Will does it, just the consistency to somehow, with one player, maintain the top 4 position for this long. It's been pretty impressive, so he's done well.
Yeah, Adam said 2 is the lowest, and the lowest for a full 11 is Adam with 16.
Good stat. Very good stat.
Right. I think we'll crack on and do the bit we all want to see, which is your segment. So I will screen share for you.
Lovely.
He says he's actually done it twice, but he doesn't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Right. Can you see my screen? You can.
I can see your various screens. I can see the league table. Yeah.
Nobody else can see the screens at the moment. So if you want to give a summary before we go in, you can do that, and then I'll bring it up.
Yeah, sure. So I guess given it's the semi-final weekend, I wanted to go away and have a look at the underlying cup performance of the teams that are still in the cup. So Emil Pesky, Laurent Bear expects to lose, and Bruno Fernandes. And I've sort of taken a bit of a deep dive into their starting 11 for this semi-final game week and looked at the individual players and how they've performed over the cup run so far. And then I've basically created a prediction of what I think the final scores will be for a particular game week.
Okay.
Obviously, then we'll do the draw, and then we'll be able to see who we think will come out on top in the game week.
Okay. So, do you want me to bring up this first slide for everyone?
Yeah, go for it.
Right. Okay. People should be able to see this now. So, I will let you run through, and you just tell me when you want me to go to the next slide. I will.
Okay, so this first slide is very, very simple. So where it says game week 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's just game week 23, 4, 5, and 7. I've just very quickly plotted a trends sort of analysis line to see where, if there was a trend that flowed from those game weeks into this game week, this would be the likely outcome. So Emil Pesky would end up with 39 points. I would end up with 37. Luke, you'd end up with 33, and Bruno Fernandes would end up with 50, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the table below just shows the number of players that have been used over the course of the cup so far. So obviously Rich has used the most players, followed by me, followed by Jimmy, and then followed by you so far. And this is very, very high level. This isn't really what the likely outcome would be. It's just a snapshot of what potentially could happen.
All right.
Next slide.
There we go.
So this is my prediction, and this is based on looking at the underlying data of players' performance in the cup. So the hypothesis is that players perform differently under the pressure of competing in a cup competition, regardless of who they're playing against in that particular game week. Obviously, we need to factor in the pressure that comes with playing in a cup competition, and particularly when you get to the semi-finals, that pressure can mount. So we need to factor that into our analysis. So based on this, which I'll come on to all the data in a second, but based on this is the predicted outcome based on my analysis. So I would end up with 47. Emil expected to lose Luke, you'd end with 46. And then there would be a tie between Emil Pesky and Bruno Fernandes on 40 points.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see if that's what the cup draw ended up with. And we could work out who would go through based on the various other criteria if we got to that point.
I feel like those are the exact points we had when we played in the El Presidente final together, or was it like 48-47 or something ridiculous?
It was close, yeah. I'm pretty sure there was a 47 in there, so it must have been, literally that close. So yeah. Do you want to go to the next slide and I'll crack on?
There we go.
So I've started with myself because I thought it'd get me out of the way. So my score prediction is 47. It's based on the following. So if you go to the next slide.
Okay.
So feel free to have a think, discuss, the players in this team. So this is my starting 11 for this game week. And as you can see, a bit of a mixed bag. Diaz is my highest performing defender in the cup so far, but he's injured, so he's on the bench.
Yeah.
Which is Foster has performed better overall in cup game weeks than Laurence, interestingly. So if you go to the next slide, actually, I've added some notes on this. So
oh wow, this is a proper assessment here.
Yeah,
Tom must be loving this. I can see him in the chat.
So I guess starting in the top left, you can see the performance of my top 10 performing cup players in those game weeks so far. And then on the bottom, you can sort of see their average score versus their high score within those game weeks. So Elise is my highest average performing cup player with 8 points. He may be injured this weekend, which is a bit of a pain. So I'm hoping that Edouard, who is currently on my bench, comes in again if there's a bit of a shake-up in the sort of front three at Crystal Palace. And then you've also got IU, who I brought in for Sargent just last minute to try and factor that in as well. But yeah, so Elise is my highest scoring cup player on average, followed by Dale, who's no longer in my team, which is not ideal. Followed by Diaz, who is injured. Followed by Cash, De Bruyne, who are both in my team and both in my starting 11. Foster, who is on my bench. And then Moder and Veltman aren't in my team anymore. And Ronaldo and Kulusevski are. So yeah, just going through the points. So my best cup player is Elise, that we talked about. Dale is obviously no longer on my team. Diaz is injured. De Bruyne may be rested for the Champions League. I don't know, given how close the league is at the moment, whether he'd still be played, but I think we'll have to wait and see. The risk I'm willing to take at this stage. Obviously, Foster is better in the cup than Laurence, but Foster plays for Watford, who are playing against Liverpool, which is a bit of a risk. So I've decided to risk playing Laurence, even though he's on average worse than Foster in this particular round. Ronaldo has been pretty inconsistent for most of the season, to be fair. Scores hat-tricks one week and then nothing the next. His average overall in the cup is below 4 points a week, although his high was in game week 27, I think, where he scored 10. So I've kept him in the team for obvious reasons, because I have no other strikers. And Kulusevski has performed pretty well for Spurs since coming in. He's been one of my best players in recent game weeks. So
Yeah.
I've stuck as well. Unknowns in my team are Marty. So Leicester have turned a bit of a corner in recent leagues. They've got some key players back. So I'm hoping that he'll come in, he'll stay in the team and play well. And I've also stolen Cornet out of the agency, who Jimmy actually had right at the start of the cup run. So yeah, and Burnley have got a double game week. So I'm hoping that he'll come good. And that's kind of my team. I mean, do you have any questions on that?
I don't think so. I think you've covered it all.
You can also just sort of flick back to the actual team itself and have a quick summary review. But yeah, hoping Spurs do well over the weekend, because I've obviously got Lloris, Doherty, Romero, and Kulusevski.
Adam has said that you've got Foster starting this weekend and then away to Liverpool. They got a double game week then, Watford? No?
No, they're just playing Liverpool.
Oh, what are you saying? Any other choice is madness for some reason.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's right. Watch Watford beat Liverpool away 1-0 now.
Yeah.
With about 12 save points. So that's my team. I guess just to sort of summarise how the points are calculated, it's based on the average performance of each player over the cup run to date.
Okay.
So you can see sort of how that sort of pans out here. So if you want to flick on to the next team, which is Rich. So Rich obviously was, based on his sort of trends performance in the cup, would be the highest scoring team. But based on my predictions, he's actually joint third with Jimmy on 40 points. And I'll show you why if you go to the next slide. So Rich is interesting. So Rich's highest scoring players, including Willock, Coutinho, Webster, are no longer in his team. He traded them out. Good timing. His third high scoring player is actually Dubravka, who is on his bench for the cup in goal. So interesting choice. But hopefully Ederson will get a clean sheet, and that is not too much of an issue. Weghorst has a double game week, which is interesting. Similar to Cornet, they're probably the two, as maybe McNeil, the sort of most valuable Burnley players, sort of offensively, that might be able to score some points. So that might help him in this game week. Dan Burn is his best defender, but he's on the bench. He loves a cup run. Average score in a cup fixture is 6 points. So maybe Rich will come to regret leaving him third on his bench.
Maybe, yeah.
And then Tellez is the only outfield player, only top 10 performing outfield player still in Rich's first 11. And he will likely be benched for Luke Shaw. So not a good stat for Rich. So you can see at the top all the sort of top 10 performing players. Rich doesn't really have any of them left. Tellez is the only starting one. Obviously Ederson is in goal. The rest are gone, and Dubravka and Burn are on the bench. So interesting team selection from Rich. Hopefully it works out for him. And then obviously Zaha is a risk because he's likely to be injured, given the trade, and Tolly not honouring the trade back clause that was agreed during the international break.
I thought there was a committee for Rich's trades now. That doesn't seem to have happened again.
Yeah, I mean, we have to question the committee, I have to say. Maybe it's time for new leadership.
Yeah. Right.
So that's Rich. So if you go on,
we've got his team.
That's his team. So as you can see, Dubravka on average scores more points than Ederson in a cup run, although only marginally 6 versus 5. Dan Burn being his highest scoring defender is on the bench. Obviously Tellez may or may not play, given Luke Shaw's been playing pretty well recently, played well for England over the international break. John Stones is plays pretty well with Diaz out. I'm sure he'll start and probably do well. Ziyech, Elanga, and Højbjerg and Gundogan are all potentially non-starters, I'd say.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a risk for him. Zaha potentially is injured. And he's got the double game week of Weghorst. Weghorst has got 6 points here because it's the double game week. He scores 3 on average in his cup performances so far. hence why he's got 6, and Antonio's 3.
All right. Who's up next?
I think it might be you.
Me, yes. Okay.
Okay, so you are predicted, based on this, to come second overall or score the second highest number of points in the cup this week.
Okay, I'm happy with this.
So, interestingly, all bar one of your top 10 cup performers are still in your squad. So you'll remember right at the start, you had the least number of players that you've rotated in the cup competitions.
Yeah.
Shea Adams is your highest performing cup player with an average of 6 points in the cup, followed by De Gea, Laporte, Kyle Walker-Peters, Fabinho, Mings, etc. You've got some pretty high points for all of those players where they've scored really highly in a particular game week. Notably Ward-Prowse, I think with 11 at the top there. So yeah, your team is a bit different in the sense that you've rotated less, and you've kept a lot of your high performing players in your team overall for this game week, and obviously throughout the cup competition so far. You started Fabianski, even though David De Gea has actually done better for you in the cup, which is interesting on average and in terms of high score.
Yeah.
Your high scoring defender is Mings, and he's on your bench, which is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt, I didn't feel good about that game, but maybe it'll come to bite me. But maybe he's first on my bench, I think. So if no one plays, he'll come at least. But yeah, we'll see.
And then, Azpilicueta has only featured in one cup game so far, and he's sort of in and out of the Chelsea team. And with Reece James back, I would imagine he would be benched, but we'll have to wait and see. So if you go to your next slide, this is your team. So you can see obviously Fabianski in goal, Azpilicueta with 2 on average in one game week, basically. Walker-Peters has performed well for you in the cup, as has Laporte, as has Mings, which I've not put the points in there. Whoops. Fabinho was a really interesting pickup because he's had a really, really good cup run, averaging 5 points across the cup game week so far. So that's a good one. I think Doucouré's got a double game week, hasn't he? But he only scores an average of 2 points in the cup in previous cup rounds. So that's why he's got 4. Shea Adams is obviously your best striker with 6. And Ward-Prowse has performed on average pretty well for a midfielder with 5 throughout the cup. So that gives you a total of 46.
Nice. I mean, I would take that now. If you said, do you want 46 points this game week? I'd be like, yes, please. So, yeah, see how it goes.
There's obviously a risk that, Azpilicueta's dropped, but then hopefully Mings comes in, and that gives you a bit more of a buffer, hopefully. If Villa do. I think they've got Brighton. I can't remember.
They've got Wolves.
Wolves, that's it. So, potentially, and obviously Vardy's a shame that he's injured, but yeah, it kind of is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. And was that Livers Jim?
Yeah, so Emil Pesky predicted to end with 40 overall. I think he was actually on a downward trend anyway in the cup, so feels about right. But if you go to the next slide. Similar to Rich, that Pesky's best average performing cup players are no longer in his squad. Coleman has done well in the cup for him, an average score of 9. Trippier 9, Bednarek 6, Pinnock 7. So none of those players are in his squad anymore.
Right.
He's obviously still got Son and Maddison, which, Son scores an average of 5 points in the cup, Maddison an average of 4, and Sancho an average of 4. Oster again does slightly better on average in goal in the cup than Martinez, which seems to be a bit of a theme in this game week. And I think Jimmy's picked up a Brighton defender. I can't remember which one it is, but they've only had 2 clean sheets in the last 16 games. I think it's Dunk actually. So it's quite an interesting pickup for him to bring in a Brighton defender for a cup weekend.
Yeah.
And then final point, Cornet's joined the Bears. Cornet was one of his players in the first cup round, and whether that could be decisive or not. Yeah, that's kind of it really. If you go to the next slide. So you'll see that Jimmy's high scoring defender is actually Johnny. Dunk has just come in, I think, this game week, and Brighton haven't kept a clean sheet, or have kept very few clean sheets all season. They're on a pretty poor run, so that was quite an interesting pickup from him. Tierney's done okay, an average of 4 points. Dyer has, I think Tottenham have gone through a bit of a strange period where they're in the cup where they haven't really kept clean sheets. So he's scored an average of 2 points each game week. Stuart Armstrong is an interesting pickup, although on average he's only scored 3 points. He has been injured, he's back in the team now. So that could be a bit of a surprise signing for Jimmy. White McNeil's obviously on a double game week, but hasn't turned up in the cup so far. He's only scored an average of 2 points, hence why he's got 4 in this particular game week. So it's a double game week and you expect him to play both games.
Yeah.
Rodrigo, obviously with Bamford injured again, we would expect to start up top. Although his performance in the cup has also been average, with an average of sort of 3 points in the cup week so far. And I haven't even bothered looking at Lukaku because he's terrible. And Evans is on the bench, which is interesting because I think Evans would actually be a good one to put in the starting 11 ahead of Dunk, which he's not done.
Yeah. Exciting.
Well, I think that's it. Is that the last slide?
That's the last slide, yeah.
There you go. So you've got some predictions there from me in terms of who I think will, how each team will score in the cup. So it's just a case of now doing the cup draw, and then let's see who is up against who and what the outcome might be.
Yep, I like this. Let's do that. Right. Is everyone ready for the cup draw? You ready? Can you see that, Laurence?
I can see that. I can hear the fans cheering.
Okay. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to the DBF Pokal semi-final.
I don't have sound.
I'm your host, man.
You don't have sound? Okay.
No.
Sorry guys, you'll have to wait a little longer. You'll have to stop it and start it. Can you see that?
I can see it.
Hello.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. Sorry about that, guys. We'll start again. Hopefully you can all hear this. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to the DBF Pokal semi-final draw. I'm your host, manager of PK Blinders, Adam Waters, and this is my trusty assistant, Percy. Percy, Paul, thank you. The semi-final draw and their ball numbers will correlate to the winners of their quarter-final draws in order. So ball number 1 will be the Bears, ball number 2 will be Bruno Fernandes, ball number 3 will be expected to lose, and ball number 4 will be Emile Pesky. Just to confirm, the semi-finals are also a one-legged shootout, and in case of a tie on points, the semi-finals will go to penalties. So make sure that you get your shootout lists in as soon as you can. So let's get on with the draw. Ball number 4, which is Emile Pesky.
So Jim, who's he got?
Definitely Rich.
Ball number 2, which is Bruno.
You called it.
And that leaves the home tie for ball number 3, which is expected to lose. And that leaves ball number 1, which is the Loro Bears.
Very interesting.
That concludes the DBF Pokal semi-final draw. Myself and Percy will see you next season for the next draws. Good luck to one and everyone.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Ooh. What do we think about that then?
So based on my analysis, we have a tie between Jimmy and Rich, which could be very interesting when it comes to the shootout.
Yeah, could be the first time we see penalties.
Yeah. And then a very, very close contest between us two again.
Yeah.
Reigniting that fixture from the cup final from last year.
Yeah.
Be very interesting. So yeah, very, very good cup draw. I think that's what we wanted when we went through this. So look forward to seeing how it all pans out. What are your predictions, Luke? Have you got any other thoughts?
I think Rich might hit Jim because he just loves knocking people out of cups. So that'll be my prediction for that one. And then for us, I think it's hard. I don't know. I feel like you probably will have the better of me.
I think you've got to back yourself, Luke.
I don't know. I'm just Saints' last few games have not been great, and I think if they don't pick it up against Leeds, then I'm in trouble. So
they're on a bit of a poor run, aren't they, Southampton?
Yeah. So, see. Jim's asked me to explain how the pens work. So we have to submit our team in the order of who you want to take your penalties. And then, so if penalties happen, my first player will go against your first player in terms of points, and whoever's scored the more points scores their penalties. I believe that is how it works.
Yep.
And it goes down the list, and whoever's scored the most penalties wins.
Very good. Exciting.
Is that right, Jim?
Oh.
Can you confirm that was right, please? Oh, we need to do that as well. We've got an hour to do it before the first kickoff.
Nice. Very good. All right, Luke. Well, best of luck.
And to
Hope
you.
it all goes well.
And that really concludes what we're going to cover today. So if you've been listening, thank you very much. Thanks for coming on, Laurence. Great segment. I saw a few people say great segment in the chat. So it's a good, nice, get everyone excited for the cup finals, the semi-finals, I think. Yeah.
No worries.
It'll be interesting to see how your predictions come out. So
yeah, I mean, we all want Jimmy to get knocked out. That's the main. So
yeah,
achieve for the weekend.
Yeah, that would be good. Okay, well, yeah. Thanks everybody. Thanks Laurence. As always, this is the DraftCast, and remember, draft is life. See you next time.